this is Celia, and today I wanted to talk about some doll stuff. So those of you not here for the dolls, see you whenever I post not doll stuff. But today I want to talk about a little sort of heated topic in the BJD community, and that is recasts. If you didn't already know, I am not a supporter of recasts because I think that the artist should actually get paid for their hard work. For those of you that don't know what a recast is basically a knockoff doll, except that usually recasts are when people buy the doll that the artist made and recast it so that they make these knockoff dolls, and the artist sees no money for their hard work that they put into it. So yeah, it's what terrible people do. Anyway, I'm gonna try to be less catty and read a few posts from the internet from anti and pro recast people and explain a little more in detail how I feel about the situation. Because unfortunately, there seems to be a lot of recast supporters, especially here on YouTube. Like, I see recast unboxing videos all the time, and everyone in the comments like, oh, congratulations, she's beautiful. She's not beautiful. She's a stolen piece of artwork, and that person is terrible for not buying the artist's work. But Billy, what about limited dolls? I have several dolls that are limited. Most of my dolls are not made anymore, and I got them off the secondhand market. Because what is even the point of owning a limited doll if you can't share it with people? Because if you own a recast, you can't go on most popular doll sites, and if you share it on places like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you're gonna get called out for owning a recast, as you should. Anyway, I actually have a few exceptions to the rule of recasts are terrible to own. My first one is if you didn't know what a recast was and you wanted to be in the hobby, you didn't know to stay off of eBay and bought a recast doll, and then you later learned what a recast was, and now you're working to be in the hobby and own legit dolls. I applaud that, and that's really good of you. The second exception I can see is if you use it basically for a scrap doll, and I'm not saying that you bought it directly from recast buyers. Don't do that, by the way. That encourages them. I'm saying, like, if you found a recast doll in a secondhand shop or something along those lines, and you decided to use them for like scrapping, like, oh, I wonder what this face-up would look like, let me test it on this recast doll. You don't share their pictures, you don't do anything really, and you don't encourage recasts. Those are two exceptions. Here's the last one. Someone you love that doesn't know what a recast is bought you a doll that happens to be a recast for Christmas or your birthday or whatever, and you don't feel like getting rid of it because, you know, that was really special that they bought you something. I can totally, like, agree with that. I think that you should support the artist and definitely don't encourage recasts, but if you own them for that reason, that makes sense. So, now I'm going to read some posts from pro and anti-recast people to see if anyone has a point, or just to compare them and say why I think recasts are unacceptable unless it's in those three contexts. Which still, come on man, come over to the light side. Let us teach you. I'm just reading things off of Tumblr, everyone's favorite website to dish on. And I'll put little screen caps on the sides to show it. I'm not going to put the names though, because I don't particularly want to, like, if someone that's pro recast goes and bullies someone that's anti recast, that would be very rude, or vice versa. Recast buyer. Don't be angry over plastic, guys. Who cares where the doll came from? I'm pro people. Doll artist. I'm a people. Recast buyer. What? I can't read suddenly. I'm like, that one's more of catty type things. And before I even like go into any of this too, do not bully people over dolls. Like, don't send people death threats. However, if you get called out for owning a recast, that's your fault. Someone's like, hey, recasts are not good and maybe you should get a real doll, and then you decide to take that as bullying, that's your problem. Here's another post that's really good. Dear recast owners, let me help you go legit. And that's really good. Like, I think part of the way that we can help get recasts out of the community and keep it from ruining our community is by helping others become legit, or helping new owners steer them towards legits and not bootleg dolls. After news broke today about the notorious BJD recaster Lou filing international copyright claims for brands that he does not own and in fact actively steals from, I have to imagine that a lot of you are just as distressed as I am. A lot of you are seeing the same message: go legit or get out. But it's not that simple, right? That's why I want to do anything I can to help recast owners who realize now the harm that recasting does to well-meaning people, now that it's gotten political and it's the forefront of BJD news. I want to help you find real ball-jointed dolls that are at affordable prices. I'll even be a Den of Angels contact for you so you can snag a legit buy secondhand. Nova is an Illusia Spear Zoo King. I can't read these names, I'm so sorry, I butchered them. He's a very beautiful doll if you're seeing this. I don't think you will, but still. Muro doll, 40cm male body. I got his head and body secondhand from different people, and all together he only cost me $125. My legit Fairyland Rendia, I got her secondhand, and she only cost me $400. So, legits can be just as cheap, if not cheaper, than some recasts. Just saying. If you're not a fan of hybrids, or if you're just addicted to the smell of new resin and you don't want to buy a secondhand, consider my guy Zeke. Zeke was my first ever BJD, a Mystic Kids Lawrence, and while it took me a bit of time to save up for him, it was so worth it when he arrived. I custom ordered him new from Alice's Collections, and the doll and the wig combined only came to $250. For an SD. And of course Mystic Kids themselves saw the proceeds. And also that message extends to me too. If you're new to the hobby and you want some recommendations, I am constantly online looking at pretty dolls that I can't afford yet. I've got too many right now that I need to fix up, so. But Bella, how do you feel about neutrals? I think neutrals, they're almost as damaging as pro recast people, because if you're not gonna stand up and say, hey, this is wrong, then you're probably part of the problem, sorry. And I know a lot of people on YouTube are neutral on it, but like, come on man, stand up for the community, because without the artist, there would be no community. Here's another one talking about their doll. It's a very pretty doll, by the way, I like its hair. Anyway, I'm gonna start a little farther down because I want to. Anyway, I'm not usually this bold with my opinions, but let's look at my boy here, Liam. He's a Dream of Doll Duncan from about 2007. He was one of my first doll crushes. I remember finally searching for BJDs and seeing Duncan's hottie smirking going, oh my god! This is about 2006 and I had no way to buy anything worth more than $35 at one time, so I admired him from afar. Then I found another Dream of Doll owners who had gorgeous dolls, and I started building a wish list. I got my very first doll in 2011, and while I still coveted that wish list, I realized that SD dolls were not my size and went with MSDs and YoSDs. I love them all, but I was still quietly captivated by my first BJD loves. Last year I decided to start making SD clothing, and Duncan popped up on DOA. Promptly brought him home and can't be happier. But why the good feel story? Dream of Doll is gone. Do a Google search. They are gone, and every bit of investigation I've done points to recast competition is what closed them down. Recasts harm this hobby. Whether you ignore that fact or not, they do. You can have your cheap doll and enjoy it, and many of you brag how the rest of us can't tell. You got a deal. You can't ask your parents to pay $500 for a doll. You want this doll in X skin color. You want it as soon as possible. You think there's no difference in quality. You do what you want with your money. Justify it as you will. But here I am. I waited 6 years for my first doll and built a wish list as long as my arm. And now the company I wanted 6 dolls from is gone because you got what you wanted. So you think SL or any other recaster cares that much? $95 for Minifee Chloe? Are you kidding me? And shipped within 3 weeks, sanded? Who is casting these dolls? How many employees do they have? Do they have true respirators or just painter's masks? Do they have healthcare and paid time off? Can they support their family working a regular 40-hour week? Come on, you know that your money isn't going to the person who actually makes your doll, and as many of you say that you can't afford a legit, you should really be sympathetic to them at the very least. You don't deserve a doll. You can work and save and sacrifice just like I did. You can do it. You don't need to resort to buying a fake copy. We can turn this around. We can unite and bring back the hobby. Imagine what we could do if 100% of our doll money went to artists. Imagine the new sculpts, the props, the clothing. When you decide on your next doll, please choose legit. I don't care if you already have Recasts or not, just support the artists in their studios. They're the whole reason we have these beautiful dolls. Please support the foundation of our hobby. Otherwise, it's going to collapse. And you don't need a doll. Think about that. There's a post up here that I'm going to read that makes it sound like it, but you don't need a doll. Just like I really want like 50 dolls, but I am not going to go with Recasts because I would rather support the artist than have my doll and make it look nice and everything. I'd rather have a doll that's half finished and supports an artist. Recasts are killing off companies like this. And now onto the pro recast side. There's an anti-recast collector's block list. And a lot of people are all like, there's only one thing I can say to that. Good, because we don't want you here. Because you're the one killing off companies and keeping us from having beautiful works of art. Here's the one that I saw. This isn't a luxury hobby, or the "it's a luxury hobby" argument is pathetic. For some of us, it's not a luxury, it's a lifeline. I have DID, depression, anxiety, BPD, and bulimia, and 5 recasts. Those dolls are my coping mechanism, my self-expression, a reflection of my soul in pain. I'll stroke their hair while I'm anxious, paint scars instead of scarring my own skin. It's not a luxury any more than therapy is a luxury. Okay, if you can afford 5 recasts, you can afford at least 1 legit. Let's say that a recast of a SD doll is like $200, because a long time ago when I almost bought a recast, that's how much they were. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You've probably spent close to that much. And honestly, like, you could afford a real doll and support the artist, and you don't think about the artist, like, you don't think that the artist has anxiety? Maybe that's their way of coping by making these dolls, and their anxiety levels are increasing because so many people are stealing from them, like you. It's like, get out of your bubble. I'm sorry that you have all of these mental disorders and stuff like that. Like, I'm extremely anxious, but I don't steal from artists because that's really wrong and really messed up, and I will not contribute to someone else's anxiety. If you buy recast and you think that you're somehow virtuous because you only buy recast from big companies, you are either severely delusional or you're just flat out lying. Act like you're great all you want, you're just as revolting as the rest of your ilk, only you have the gall to act like you're awesome because you're sticking it to the man or something. When you buy a recast, your money is funding the theft of all dolls, whether they came from big names like Volks or those just starting out like SIO2. You fund all of it, and you are to blame for all of it. I don't owe it to you to react positively when you mistreat me. I'm allowed to call you out. I'm allowed to be angry. It doesn't make me any less kind or positive. Let's stay positive. Love your recast. Or am I mistreating you, or am I calling you out for owning a recast? Because there's a difference. I'm allowed to call you out for owning a recast, but I'm allowed to be angry because the people whose companies went out of business are allowed to be angry because you decided to be selfish. Actually, you can't be kind if you're stealing. That's theft. You're a bad person. This one's funny. I just like this one. Psst. Want to buy some legit dolls? talk to your kids about pro artists before they do the right thing. PSA, don't read BJD Recast Positive Confessions unless you want to be whipped into a frenzied anger. Same. I always get super heated when I go online and read about recasts. And I'm hoping that this video can kind of help contribute to the anti-recast movement, and we can support artists and have a really good hobby. Okay, but can we agree on a few things in light of the pro-artist list going around? Stupid arguments pro-recasters are surfacing again. We have our differences, and my personal view is I just don't really want to associate with pro-recasters, and that's my prerogative, just as it is theirs to not want to associate with me for that same reason. I'm fine with that. It's better if we are not to annoy each other, right? Now, first off, it is never okay to send them death threats. Yes, don't harass people. In the end, when you really pull back from everything, they are just hunks of resin, but at the same time, they're people's livelihoods. So, it's like, take it seriously, but not so seriously that you threaten people, because that's messed up. Second, this place just compared this situation to horrible racism, bigotry, and misogyny. Oh, honey. You simply cannot compare the pro and anti sides to the hardships dark-skinned people have gone through, especially in America. The LGBTQ plus community, which I'm a part of, has suffered many losses because of what they were born. It's a choice to buy recasts, and it's a bad choice. You, for owning recasts, do not fall in any of these groups. You were not born a thief. You made a choice. You made a very conscious choice to buy a recast, to support recasters, and to not support the original artist. You made the choice to put your luxury, bold luxury, you don't need a doll any more than I don't really need a really nice couch. It's like, no, you don't need like a luxury couch or something. You made the choice to put your luxury needs before the livelihood of another person. You are not oppressed. You put yourself in that position in a hobby where creativity is everything and the artists make these dolls. I just really don't want to associate with pro recasters. And my sister asked me like one time if I went up and I was at a doll meet or something and someone had a recast doll, what would I do about it? I think that I would be very gentle about it. First off, I'd tell them like, hey, supporting the artist is cool, why don't you do that instead? And second, if they agreed, then I'd be like, okay, sweet, we can be best buds if you want, but if not, I don't really want to associate with them. I don't want to take pictures of their dolls, I don't want to make them things, I don't want to shout them out. I don't really want anything to do with them. And if they want to block me, that's fine, but I will never really block someone for being a recast owner unless they're trying to spread the word and purposefully hurt the artist. Then you're just human garbage. Hello, it seems you're confused. The legit BJD hobby isn't full of hate. The legit BJD hobby is full of love. We love the artists who create our dolls. We show that love by actually paying for our dolls. By buying a recast doll, you've decided to be on the wrong side of civil rights. You are pro-stealing. The blog you are seeking to support is not peaceful. It is actively encouraging theft from artists. It is actively supporting the destruction of a living wage for artists, as well as supporting the devaluation of labor in China, where most of these recasts are from. It's not toxic to speak out against injustice. It's not acceptable to be okay with morally wrong behavior. If you get rid of your recast and join the legit BJD community, you will see that people will accept you because you've stopped hurting the artist. And you'll feel better because you won't have to worry about hiding your crimes. And you'll be able to know that you financially supported the artist who made the doll you love. And another thing someone brought up is they're like, oh, but people steal like knockoff bags and steal music and stuff. And it's like, it's not the same thing. Luxury bags and luxury dolls are not really the same thing, because it's not really considered weird to own like a Louis Vuitton bag that's like $500 or whatever. I don't know how much they are, too much, okay. But owning a BJD is like not the same at all because you can customize the doll. It's kind of like weird for people that aren't in the hobby. Louis Vuitton is like $1 billion company. Sometimes only 4 to 5 people work in a BJD studio. They're lucky to have the profit that they do have and not have it ruined. Also, there's no real pride in owning a knockoff Louis Vuitton bag. It's like, ooh, I got a Louis Vuitton. Oh, it's fake. So it's worthless. And I think the same goes for recast dolls, but for some reason recast owners band together and they're like, no, this is fine, and it's not fine. Also, music is more of a corporation now than anything, because there's tons of people behind the artists that are making the songs. Like the most popular artists today, they have so many people working for them. They are billionaires. It's not the same. By the way, don't steal from anybody, it's wrong. Anyway, don't really understand popularity on this hobby. Do you really need 500 plus followers praising you to see how beautiful your doll is? My bullying video was not well received, and I'm like, whatever. But a lot of people complain about bullying in the hobby, and like, they didn't say my doll is pretty or whatever. I don't know. But it's like, you're supposed to be in the hobby because you love your doll. If someone says your doll is ugly, block them and move on. It's not that hard. And calling you out for owning a recast is not bullying. It's standing up for good morals. What's funny about anti-recast is that they're fine with bootleg clothing for some reason. Who said that? Literally nobody. Like, you claim to be pro-artist, but then you turn around and don't give a crap about buying rip-off doll clothes or even actual bootleg purses and shoes. If you're really 100% anti-bootleg, then don't ever buy doll clothes that aren't from the official doll brand, Lamau. And perfumes, music, movies, art prints, and the list goes on. I've already explained it, but I'll say it again. Multi-billion-dollar company, 1 or 2 artists trying to make a living wage, but you decided that you wanted your luxury doll now, and you're cheap. Recasts aren't hurting anyone. You guys are just elitist jerks. Oh yeah, they're not hurting anybody. Was that a doll artist that wants to be paid for their work? Yeah, no, they don't matter. That's fine. They're not hurting anybody. People that would call me garbage or treat me like garbage for owning recast dolls aren't worthy of my love and respect. I have a lot of love and positivity, but I'm not going to waste it on negative people. Instead, I'm going to waste it on not supporting the artist. You can't really be that positive if you're actively stealing from an artist. Sorry, honey. I don't care if a doll is a recast or legit. If I see a cute doll, I hit the like button. This hobby was never supposed to be about anything more than cute dolls and sharing the love in the hobby. Now it's turned into some weird drama doll politics cesspool. No wonder people outside the hobby think that we're all freaks when we have antis going off all the time. They embarrass the entire community with their clique nonsense. This hobby was never supposed to be about anything more than cute dolls and sharing the love in the hobby. It wasn't, but then people started recasting dolls, and we can't really have more dolls if the company shuts down. And I wanted that one, but I can't get it now because the company's dead. I wonder whose fault that is. Man, that sucks. When people are actively stealing from artists in the hobby, they're allowed to call you out on it, and also they're allowed to be upset at you about it. Well, maybe not specifically you, but recasters. Recast dolls aren't only good for their lower price. Their resin quality is good. They come in a way better variety of colors. The customer service is better and often more personal/friendly. They often come with extra little goodies or snacks. The wait time for it to arrive is much shorter. If the doll breaks or is broken before it gets to you, replacements are much easier and less costly to get. Their posing is great. They seem to actually get sanded properly, unlike some legits. Okay, listen here, you dumb slut. They come in a way better variety of colors. Here's this, there's this fun item called Rit dye. They sell it at Walmart for like $2. So yeah, I'm gonna be dyeing my doll because they stopped making him, and I still wanted to, own a legit doll. The customer service is better and often more personal/friendly. When the wrist joint on my Fairyland Rendia split down the middle, Fairyland sent me another one, and all I had to pay for was shipping. The wait time for it to arrive is much shorter. I got one of my dolls within like 3 weeks. What are you talking about?
What? What is it? That littered? What's that?
Such dirt. Honestly, unnecessarily rude people towards me on DOA, as well as the Miradol ban, and most of the pro artist community in general, as well as the jacking up of prices in the market, has pushed me towards Recasts more than anything. I don't have anywhere to get my grail other than Recasts, and I'm starting to wonder if it's worth it to try and keep legit. Ran out of here. Just so people respect me when they won't, even if I keep legit either way. And the one underneath it, the caption underneath it is like, the question, Annan, is what sort of people will respect you? You can choose respect from crappy people. Oh, you mean like people that steal the hard work of artists because they're selfish? Yeah, that would be really bad if you got the respect of those people. Elitists and bullies? Okay. Every time I see the word elitist thrown around, I know that they're talking about the price of dolls. And if they're calling you out for owning a recast, it's not because you didn't spend a lot of money on it. It's because you didn't give the money to the artist. Shut up with your victim complex. Also, I never see like actual elitists that make fun of people for how much they spend on a doll. Like, literally no one does that. I don't know anyone that says that. And bullies. Actual bullies that bully people, yeah. I've never seen one though. Well, I know of a spat that went down between people, but one of them was pro recast, and they were stealing not only a doll from someone, but also a concept from another artist that actually owns legits. I'm not gonna get into it though, that's too bad. Also, I have a Grail doll that I want really badly. He was a limited from like 2 Augusts ago. The new boxes that Leo was using for Recast Fairyland dolls are very cute. It's a nice touch. Girl, that is a bunch of plastic. Have you seen the Fairyland boxes? They're encased in foam. Like, no. No. I'm a total newbie to the hobby, looking around for a first doll that actually suits my sense of aesthetic, and since I came in through Tumblr, at first I was super gung-ho about always buying legit. Then I came across a doll I thought was gorgeous and checked the company out for details. It sold out nearly a decade ago. There's no way for me to buy from the company. I can only pay scalpers for damaged ones or get recasts, and I know I'm not getting anything 10-year-old, and I know I'm not getting anything 10-year-old used from scalpers. I got something for you. I don't have the doll with me, they're all at my dad's house, but this is a picture of my Suma Amber. They sold out almost 10 years ago. I still found a legit one on the second-hand market. This is a picture of my 5th motif Vinny 2. They are extremely hard to get your hands on. Seriously, get on Den of Angels and look in the Wanted tab for 5th motif Vinny 2s. Everywhere. I still got one that was legit. So, no. I was recast neutral for a while until I saw one of the closest friends go through an intense struggling with cyberbullying over her dolls. I sat with her and held her hand while she cried when the information was leaked that her dolls were recast and she had endless threats and insults flooding her accounts. It was really horrible. These people bullied her so bad that she had to go back on medication to soothe her anxiety over it. It really opened my eyes. I never want to support people like that. But you wouldn't be supporting people like that. You would be supporting artists. I get it that this was horrible, that your friend got bullied. That's terrible. I envy people whose biggest problem in life are people who own recasts. I just can't imagine living a life so easy and uneventful that you care that much about some stranger on the internet purchasing a cheap alternative to an expensive doll. Some of us have real-world struggles and don't have the pleasure of living on the internet 24/7. Oh yeah, you envy the artists who have to constantly keep their guard up to protect themselves against people trying to copyright their brand, steal their scopes, sell them recast dolls. Some of us have real world struggles. That's not an excuse to steal from the artist, honey, no. People are being against recasts is really just a Tumblr thing, TBH. No one IRL has ever given me crap for my recast or even commented on the fact that they're recast. Always make sure to let people know before I make dolly friends in case it's a problem, and it never is. Normally people don't care about this kind of stuff. It's just trolls and basement dwellers. They need to step outdoors once in a while and enjoy the real world a bit. It might do them some good. Okay, well, thank you for calling all of the artists who work really hard on their dolls trolls and basement dwellers. That's really cool. Also, in real life, it would probably be a little more awkward because, you know, you're kind of a psychopath if you call someone mean names for owning a recast in public. Everyone's awkward about it. They could probably still go and say, hey, I'm not really comfortable with that. That's what I would do anyway. Because I don't want to associate with recasts. Because they're bad. I think that was the end of it. So, yeah, that's my opinion on recasts. And I think that there could be a way to stop recasts. The first one is to let everyone in the hobby that's entering the hobby know what a recast is and where to buy legit dolls. Especially with doll customization on Monster High dolls becoming such a big thing, more and more people may be getting into the BJD hobby and they will need guidance, probably. When I first came across dolls, I didn't even know how to put in their eyes. So it would be really nice for us pro artists to go and possibly help guide them and be like, come along child, I will guide you. Let me show you the way. I will show you the way. That's a dead meme. Second, artists out there who make doll clothes or do face-ups, you can help not support recasts by not selling to them. I know most face-up people on Instagram and stuff like that already don't service recast owners, and that's great. Hopefully if we cut off, like, this sounds really weird, hopefully by not offering as many services for recast, we can kind of cut the problem off early, because it would be such a huge risk, I guess. It'd be such a huge deterrent. Like, you can't get on Den of Angels already if you own a recast. And most people on Instagram probably don't like it. The only real place I see people being pro recasts at all is on YouTube. So, if you make doll clothes or offer face-ups, just don't offer them to recasts. Say it up front. Not for sale to recast owners. Will not paint recast owners. Stuff like that. Hopefully, if we try to educate recast owners into buying legit, we can make the hobby better for artists and everything. So yeah, that's my opinion on all of that. Leave comments if you agree, disagree, whatever. I really like hearing opinions. Thanks so much for watching. I make new videos every whenever. Don't forget to like, favorite, and sub if you want. Yeah. Here's my cat.
Meow, say bye. Say bye, Meow.
Rockin', rockin' and rollin'.